happens, happens. I've got the Canuck here.
Curious.
It's Monday, March
Hey, how you doing?
14th. Monday, March 14th. It's
Yeah,
5:02 p.m. Eastern,
yeah,
2
I was
2 p.m.
available, so
Pacific.
I graciously consented to coming upon this wonderful little network, a Variant News network. Well, I've been part of it for years, but that's beside the point. And we went pretty deep in on yesterday's show that I'm usually on with the crypto, but today it's going to be even deeper into the pool because it's a real life crypto show. And the Yankee, do you call yourself the Yankee on the crypto show too? You call yourself Ted or Terry or
Um,
what's your
I
handle,
don't,
dog?
I don't, I don't, I don't,
You don't
I
have a
haven't figured
handle?
that. I haven't figured out the handle yet.
Oh, well, come on, people. Got to get this guy a handle.
Crypto, Crypto Night.
I'd say,
Crypto Night is my handle. Crypto Night. You heard it here first.
K and I,
Spelled with a K. Crypto Night.
yeah, the Crypto Night. Ooh.
Crypto Night
Mm,
hosts the
mm.
Cryptopia show. That's how it goes. But
Yeah, I think, yeah, okay, I'll go for that.
so you've got a
Yeah.
new mic, Canuck.
Well, it's not new. I've had it for years, but
Well,
yesterday
for the
we're trying
stream.
out. Yeah, well, yeah. What's going on? See, today we can just bullshit. I mean, take all kinds of time. We can talk about things like my microphone. Um, it's a nice mic. It's an AT Pro 24, which is essentially a condenser mic with a battery, so you don't need phantom power. It goes to a TRS stereo connection. And wasn't pleased with the. We're using this ninth generation iPad, and it seems to work good, but I didn't like the audio. And what you do is you take a TRRS plug and put it in the headphone jack.
That's an 18th inch plug that has all the
Eight,
rings on it.
eighth, eighth, eighth inch
Eighth inch with all
with
the rings. It's got like 3 rings or
yeah
some shit.
tip with three rings
Tip
instead of
ring
two. Now
sleeve.
well, tip ring sleeve is standard, which is on the end of your any stereo device, but they add the extra ring, and then it splits it so that one input is for the microphone, and the other input goes to the headphones, and that works on smartphones, iPhones, uh, iPads. It's a fairly convenient way to do it. It's decent audio. You don't have to go through the USB-C port, which can be more complicated and takes more peripherals. So yeah, the AT Pro 24 cost about $100. It's available at Guitar Center and other leading retailers. Highly recommend it. Um, there seems to be quite a bit of noise cancellation because we used it on a smartphone, Samsung A50 for streaming from the street, and all you could hear was my vocal. You couldn't hear any of the background noise, and I attribute that to the smartphone, some kind of noise cancellation. I've noticed that with I do video work for somebody that shoots with a regular camera and an iPhone, and the iPhone stuff seems to mask the background noise too. So that's something to take into consideration. Um, and also, I believe that you could probably hook up a mixer to uh, to the microphone input, and then you could probably mix in multiple microphones. I haven't tried that yet, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. It's just a standard signal going in. Only problem with that is unless it's a battery powered mixer, you're going to be tied to having to have AC. So that's I'm an audio professional, by the way. Tim, I mean Cyber Night,
Crypto.
uh, Crypto Night,
Crypto Night. Yeah, Crypto Night.
Crypto Night. It's like that thing that almost killed Superman.
Yeah.
Crypto Night. I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah. Well, Crypto Night and I used to be the sound engineers at a very interesting venue called the Broadway Studios on Broadway in beautiful North Beach, San Francisco, California. It was run by a Filipino woman, Francesca, and she's mostly she she liked getting high. I remember that. She's definitely
Yeah.
and she had this little. I liked it. She had this It was an interesting building built just after the earthquake in San Francisco. For it was a boxing arena for Filipino people, essentially. So it had a big area upstairs, really high ceiling, pretty old school. But you were up in her loft a few times, eh, Tim? Her little loft up there. She had the little
Yeah,
window,
yeah. I spent some quality time up there. Yeah, in her loft.
and she's smoky up heavily, and you could look out the window and see everything that was going on. And then Carl. Now, Carl, I think Carl would make a good cartoon movie. If we could get.
Carl was her boyfriend. So our boss at
Yeah.
this nightclub used to be an ex-Filipino model. So she was
Hmm.
very charismatic, and she had this again. Where was he from? Was he from? He was from Eastern
Hungary, I
Europe.
think.
Hungary. Okay, so
Yeah.
he was from Hungary, but he had a problem with alcohol, and
You think?
it's not good when you're working at a nightclub and you got 2 bars, 3 bars in a big club
Yeah.
like that, and he used to get bombed like every
Really
night.
seriously.
Every night he would get bombed out of his mind. Boyfriend of the club owner, and he'd pretend to be actually managing things. Just
Yeah.
drunk, so drunk that like he could barely talk. Right? There were definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, some nights were better than others, but some nights he was so bombed he could barely get sentences together.
Yeah, but the
Trying to
best one,
tell
'cause you
people,
had,
trying to tell people what to do, trying to run the nightclub. It was the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a long time.
but I know one night, you and I weren't working, but you had access to the uh, closed circuit TV cameras, security cameras, and you called me up and says you got to watch this. And it was the front camera, and Carl was trying to negotiate or deal with these people at the front, and he was out of his friggin' mind. It was hilarious.
Yeah, then there was
And
an altercation, right? I was actually
yeah,
what I was
yeah.
doing was I was yeah, they had a standard surveillance system with multiple cameras all archived, and
Yeah.
it was all hooked up to what the hell was it? It was like Windows 98 or XP. I think it was Windows
Oh
XP.
yeah. Yeah, this is
So
2001
I
we're
used to
talking about.
I used to fix the computer and all that when she had issues. So I would just
Yeah.
go in there and just check out archive video, or she would go on about, oh, you can't believe what happened last night. You got to dig it up, and
Hmm.
so we would just dig
Oh,
up
nice.
footage of just crazy stuff, the bar fights,
Wow. Yeah.
people smashing bottles over people's heads.
And Broadway was insane, dude. I know I'd finish work at well, the clubs had to close at 2 a.m., so I'd usually get out of the club about 2:30, 2:45, and the police had closed the street off, and it was absolute mayhem because all the clubs dump all these drunk people out on the street at the same time, and the cops just blocked both, I think, 4 blocks off it on the weekends. But it's like walking through like just I don't know, what was that movie, Rocky Horror Picture Show? Yeah, it was like walking through the Rocky Horror Picture Show. This is San Francisco, you know.
Yeah, what were
Yeah, it was a
those?
great job.
Yeah, it was the North Beach section of San Francisco. So it was kind of like the
Yeah.
north. It was the northeastern tip of San Francisco, near the
Well, it used to be
near the bay.
the ships used to dock right there before they put the landfill in. Going way back, it's one of the oldest neighborhoods in San Francisco. Infamous for the sailors, and it still got that vibe. I call it the last stronghold of heterosexuality in San Francisco because the strip clubs actually had men looking at women, and that was
Yeah, yeah.
reasonably unusual for San Francisco. But yeah, it was, and it was right next to Little Italy, and also right next to Chinatown. So getting a meal before the gig was
Yeah, it
was
was
pretty cool.
really,
They
it
had,
was, as far as eating, it was really, really good. You could eat Italian, really good Italian
yep,
pizza,
yep,
pasta, whatever, and you can then eat, there was Vietnamese, there was Cantonese,
yeah,
just all kinds of really good stuff, good slop shops. But when you get done with sound engineering a show, you'd probably get out of there around 3 in the morning, maybe.
Yeah, it was usually
3. It depended, 3:30.
Yep.
But people would just be completely wasted out of their minds, all out on the street, walking drunk through traffic, and then they would get into fights, and then people would literally get knocked out on the main thoroughfares there in the street, in the middle of the street, knocked out cold. The cars just drive around them, or even maybe even run them over if they don't see them, or intentionally. And it's just, it would be like nothing. There's nothing. It's no big deal, and just traffic kept going, and it was. I should have. I did. I mean, I did have. Streaming wasn't that big. It wasn't on the forefront like it is now. But
we did one of the first streams in history, man. The audio streams we did out of there.
Yeah, audio was the bandwidth wasn't there yet for really decent video.
No.
So most people were streaming audio, and video was hard to stream because the bandwidth was just
you couldn't capture
barely there at all.
Only 10% of the users, you told me back then, had broadband. Everybody else was on dial-up. Remember that?
Yeah, dial-up and so it was big. What was big back then was DSL. ADSL, what the hell they called? So it was basically you like coupled two phone lines together. It was a really bad hack. Yeah. And you could get some more bandwidth that way, but it still was not reliable, and you didn't have. Yeah, you didn't have you didn't have like what you have today, Verizon Fios, the coaxial cable modems, none of that stuff. So
no kidding. Yeah, well, but the thing is, the fact is,
there were T1 lines though. We had a T1 line, and that we paid. I think we were paying $500 a month.
I'm pretty sure it was around 400 anyway. At 375, 400, 4.25 for that line, which would now be considered really lame. But we streamed, and I think the first time we streamed, we actually had like 8 listeners, and that must have been pretty. And I think we streamed some of the talent shows. The Crypto Night and I we organized these talent shows, and we had some bonkers. Remember bonkers for the Gone Bonkers? These 2 kids from they drove all the way in from Sacramento to be part of this, and they were freaking hilarious.
I can't believe that a T1 line only did 1.5 megabit per second, and I think you were able to get that down and up, but I wasn't sure. You must have.
Wow.
Must have been asymmetrical. I mean, seriously, we were paying $400 a month for just 1.5 megabit per second.
$400 a month 20 years ago would have to be equivalent to about 5 or 6 or $6.50 now. I mean, she was paying serious dough for that line.
And that's all. That was the really the. I mean, unless you wanted to spend astronomical amounts of money, that was the best you could do. Was 1.5 megabit. And nowadays with the upload, I mean, the bandwidth is there. We now have the bandwidth. We have massive amounts of bandwidth that these internet service providers can provide, but they will not give you the upload. They try to cap most lines are capped at 10 megabit or less. So that's insane. That's definitely I think for the internet to really move to the next level, these I really think governments should step in and help consumers get better uploads, because you can't. People are running more and more businesses online. Everything's online, and capping these upload speeds to such small speeds are really crippling. It's crippling the economy for small businesses. Everybody.
I got a question there since it's a tech show. A lead into a
Starlink.
tech show. Starlink, what does it give you for upload?
Well, I'm going to try to find out.
I know you
I don't
will.
think it's that great.
I think they said it was supposed to be like 15 or something, but I don't think they're actually delivering it. That last I heard.
First things first, the good news. When was this posted? This is posted December 30th, 2021. A little bit old, but according to Ookla, that's one of the speed test services that's very popular. The company offers far and away the fastest download speeds with a media speed of 87 megabits per second. That's down. And by comparison, competitor HughesNet offers median speeds of 19 megabits. These are for obviously satellite services. They're not talking about standard broadband. And upload, the media upload speed for Starlink, wow, clocked in at 13.5 megabits per second. So hopefully down the road, Musk can raise that at to the very least the 25 megabit range. But really, it needs to be at somewhere between 50 megabit and 100 megabit at least, if not asymmetrical, where the download and upload are the same. And that's really what's needed for. I mean, think about it. If everybody is working online now. That's where it's all going. It's going to stay that way. So really, there needs to be regulation that allows for more affordable asymmetrical connections. Where if you're getting 500 megabit down, you should be able to get close to 500 megabit up, and you should be allowed to create servers or whatever on a consumer line, whatever they got to do, whether they got to label a business line.
Sounds like we're going to need a convoy. We need a convoy. We're going to have to get a convoy due to all the techie people, and we'll descend on Washington, and we won't leave.
Yeah, we will not leave Washington, D.C. until there are affordable asymmetrical connections, 500 megabit down, 500 megabit up, at least, for every citizen in the United States. We'll get Elon Musk there, and also we need to lift the restrictions on providing servers on a consumer data line, consumer broadband line, so that people can more affordably start up businesses. That would be a huge boon. That would be an absolutely huge boon for small businesses getting off the ground, because you could just pay for a broadband line. You wouldn't have to get cloud hosting. That's something I'm going to look into, because there's got to be there's Verizon Fios, and that's the only company I know of that has asymmetrical, where you can get that download upload at the same rate. There's got to be other companies out there that are going to start popping up, because it's desperately needed.
If it keeps evolving at the same rate, like if we got, and we were just talking about 20 years ago, 1.5 was the industry standard. It was super expensive. You'd assume that over the years it'll just get better. I don't know. I just like the convoy idea, because we can get the barbecue going out there and set up the jungle gym, jumpy thing for the kids, and like in Ottawa, man. There's this guy here in the Kootenay. He's called himself Kootenay Jack, and he's been organizing all these things that have just basically been turning into parties. And I ribbed him on Facebook the other day. I said, "Are you going to keep partying once the restrictions are gone?" Which they're almost all gone now. Here anyway. He didn't respond. But I think. But the trouble is that truckers, they like getting out and blowing their horns and stuff. I don't think we get the techies off the goddamn couch. I mean, you guys are all couch potatoes, aren't you? Go for a walk once in a while. Now, come on.
We go for a walk in the metaverse with Zuckerberg.
Oh, Christ. Or get some
Zuckerberg.
metasize exercise. Get metasize. So you
Yeah.
just think you had a workout. Jane Fonda's
Yeah,
metasizing workout.
put on the VR kit, right? And
Yeah.
exercise. Yeah, I could see
Yoga.
that.
Do yoga. That would be the best. You wouldn't have to get in a weird position or anything. You'd just sit there on the couch and pretend that you were in a lotus position.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely do that sometime this year. I'm gonna have to figure out how to stream a VR session. It should be possible.
No, great.
And it'll
How
definitely be
much you gonna pay
disturbing.
me to watch it? I charge at least
Well,
$30 an hour
I
to
might
watch
even
that.
get you a headset so you can come in to the metaverse, and you'll probably get
No,
dizzy if you've never used
no,
them. If you've never
no.
What do you mean no? If you've never used
Listen,
the goggles,
I
it really is a shock
listen.
to the system.
I used to hang out with a guy named Tim Leary, so I kind of know what it looks like. I don't need no goggles. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
It was the
so
'60s, dude. Everybody was doing it.
I'm putting together a Cryptopia show for later today, and been checking out the news. Some interesting stuff coming out of Europe. I'm sure that the Canuck is also very excited about this, but
Yeah.
Europe has passed some sweeping crypto regulations, which is one step closer to ratification. Is actually making the price of Bitcoin go down, but there are some provisions in there that are helping prevent any backlash against proof of work tokens, which is good. Anybody
Right.
that's crypto mining, that's all proof of work. So
I see.
it was possible that Europe was going to go after proof of work because Europe is very energy conscious, a little bit too extreme,
Mm-hmm.
I think, obviously. But they really were concerned about proof of work cryptos, the amount of energy it takes. They think it's
Mm-hmm.
it's all part of that end of the world. We're all gonna die. The climate is gonna
Oh, we
go off the
all.
cliff.
Hey, listen, we all are going to die. My mother told me that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So come on. I'm
Well,
fact oriented.
the climate apocalyptic messiahs think it's because of the climate. That's how we're going to die. But
No.
thankfully, it looks
How you're
like
gonna die
Europe.
is
It looks like Europe is steering away from that hysteria, and they're going to allow more proof of work crypto projects because. When Ethereum does, nobody knows when. They're saying June they're going to go proof of stake, and then all that massive mining power for Ethereum, you can't do it anymore. So it's going to have to go somewhere. And there's Flux, which is working on proof of useful work, all kinds of things that you can do, AI research. Rendering, video rendering, whatever, virtual reality, all kinds of stuff. So it's good. It's good that Europe is not going to go after proof of work because my hope is there'll be something to replace Ethereum's once it goes proof of stake. It's getting there, and I think there's going to be some exciting things on the horizon. We're going to have to get the Canuck set up with some mining rigs.
Oh, hey, I live in one of the original mining centers of Canada. We got old miners here. They were doing it hundreds of years ago, man.
Well,
I'll talk to
I
them.
got my bill. Absolutely insane the price of electricity is skyrocketing across the world. My price per kilowatt went from around 7 cents all the way up to 11 cents, and brutal. My January bill was $600, and then I just got my February bill. Thankfully, it was $320. So I don't know what the hell was going on in January. But I have a lot of work to do. I got to work on the solar panels, and
Yeah,
I'm hoping eventually I might have electric heat also, but my mining rig warms the center of the house well, but I still need to use electric heat down in the basement for the pipes and then the bedroom. But I'm going to replace all of that with steam. And I'm not sure if I'll have that done by next winter, but it's going to be brutal.
You should look into heat pumps, because if you got heat pumps are really good. They help to cool in the summer, and they store heat for the winter, and they're quite passive. If you got an area that you can dig up, that's the thing. You got to make kind of like a pool. But heat pumps are they're really pushing heat pumps here in BC. Because they're trying to get people away from air conditioners too. That air conditioners, which is totally discretionary, by the way, you can survive generally without an air conditioner. You can't survive without heat. But they chew up a lot. They chew up during the summer. But yeah, all the alternatives, um, despite what you might hear on TV. There is not really a plot to have green energy. It's not really a conspiracy. It's more just a technology. Um, I mean, I heard that the Ukrainian war was started to take the oil industry down, so we'd have to get windmills. And your former president, he does not like windmills, man. They asked him a question about the Ukraine the other day, and he went off on windmills and how they kill birds and they're noisy and they fall apart. Like, why doesn't he like windmills? Has he got like Don Quixote syndrome or something? Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Well,
enough of him. But back to your crypto show. So, what your Mr. Kryptonite? What is your what do you see a year from now? Like, where's the state of?
Just total complete collapse of the economy and the end of the world, probably.
Oh no, I meant to do with crypto.
Yeah.
Not general.
Yeah, pretty much.
Assuming we're still alive a year from now, which is a total assumption. But I mean, what the trends? I mean, the trends. The governments are getting involved.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a serious issue now that crypto's in the mainstream. Everybody's talking about it. It's Ukraine's trying to utilize it. Russia, protesters, people politically trying to use it to fund things. So it's going to be. I mean, it's over. It's no longer hiding under a rug. It's going to be out in the open, and the problem is what are they going to do regulation-wise? I mean, I try to analyze around the world, and India is very alarming what they're trying to do there. They want to tax it like they tax gambling, horse race gambling and stuff like that, with a massive 30% hit on crypto. Massive, I guess it's a 30% capital gains, I guess.
I can see it as income.
If they officially do that with law, the rest of the world, the United States included, is going to look at that and like, wow, yeah, they're making a lot of money. 30%, we can do that too. So that would really hurt certain aspects of growth. But I think that it all comes down to how severe the regulation is, and if it's going to stifle innovation. The biggest thing this year is Ethereum. Ethereum's moved to proof of stake, where all of that massive mining power of Ethereum will go offline. So it has major ramifications, not just for crypto, but for computing in general, because it's massive strain on resources. All these miners buying up GPUs. Affects the gaming industry, creative industry, everything. So, and Ethereum, they have stated that they're going to go proof of stake, get it all done by June. It just does not look that way. They've never hit any deadline.
Oh, I see.
They've never, not one of their deadlines have they ever hit, as they've been doing hard forks. That's what this is. It's a massive hard fork. So it's just a huge
I see.
A huge software upgrade that's got to get done, and I think the amount of testing, they're going to have to do more testing. I don't think they're going to hit June. I think it's going to be maybe September, October, if not end of the year. And that's the thing. I mean, that's the biggest thing to watch this year in crypto is Ethereum's move to proof of stake, because if they don't hit June, then they have to. Their only option is then September, October timeframe, because once they get to November, that's holidays, right? That's Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, all the other holidays, Chanukah, Kwanzaa. I don't mean to offend anyone if I leave out your holiday. Don't sue me. But you've got all the holidays. You can't do it in November or December. You can't do it at the end of the year. So they would literally have to go into first quarter 2023, which I'm hoping it is what happens. So it gives me more time to mine Ethereum and even possibly fully transition to something else. Maybe by then, some project will take off, Flux or something, and it'll be more profitable than Ethereum. But that's for me, that's the biggest thing to watch this year. It really is. You've got a lot of new tokens, Solana platforms, Cardano that are proof of stake. They don't want to deal with proof of work, but at least there's Flux and stuff like that are still carrying the torch of proof of work, because I think it's a very important movement in crypto that needs to stay alive. It really does provide. It provides a lot of innovation, and like I've been saying for a while, we really need a proof of work token for network security. Logistically, legally, there's a lot of gray areas in it. It wouldn't be easy to do, but if I can get, I don't know if any project started like that, but I think there's going to be something like that. I'm going to look into trying to start something like that, because we have all this computing power, and look at all the Ethereum miners. That's all going to go away. So I think that's one of the biggest things to watch. Is what's going to, with all that mining power, where's it going to go? We could really do something useful, especially if we worked on computer security, trying to keep the internet safe. We could do data analysis of viruses, malware, in a mining-like framework. So you literally make crypto for analyzing malwares. And there's the malware out there is constantly evolving, and now it's becoming enhanced with artificial intelligence. So it makes sense to be able to analyze it, right, with a massive network of computers, GPUs, CPUs. I really think there needs to be a project that's analyzing all this in real time. Obviously, it'd be open and transparent. Anybody could be analyzing the data, and you could make earn cryptocurrency with it. So I want to look into that, because this year and next year is going to be make it or break it for proof of useful work projects in crypto. That to me is what I'm most excited about to see progress. But it's all up in the air now.
Right on.
So, well, and who knows? I mean, that's another thing that's strange that's happening now is that crypto's pretty much down for the year, right? It's just Bitcoin has not come close to hitting its all-time high, which was up in the 60,000s. So I think we're going to be in some kind of lull in the crypto markets, and as they regulate more, it's just going to become. It could just become more like the traditional markets, but who knows?
Not me, that's for sure.
Eventually, something may accelerate it. Some type of just massive growth of people buying into crypto now that it's finally mainstream.
Since I don't
there
know
could be a
anything about this,
huge buy up of crypto. I think that's why the market is so low. You got to look at it that way. I mean, it's actually good that crypto's not at all-time highs, because that makes it more likely that people will buy into this market.
I would imagine,
because we're not near the highs, so that's what people will buy low and expect to eventually beat the all-time highs at some point. So I think that's where we're going to be for a good chunk of this year. We might not see all-time highs being broken until next year or the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, since I'm just kind of a casual observer and along for the ride with the crypto night, I could see, as